And it got to the point where my videos, as I was like editing them and like recording them, the laptop would overheat so much that I started putting ice packs underneath the laptop to keep it from like overheating.
I do remember this laptop. That laptop literally exploded.
Hello, everybody. I'm Christian.
And I'm Ozzy.
And welcome back to That's the Flavor, episode number 35. A milestone episode. For audio listeners, you just got a really cool fireworks show. For video listeners, you probably were like, or video watchers, you're like, what was that? That was something weird. Don't know, I can't explain. It's just normal That's the Flavor stuff, honestly. But welcome back to the show, episode number 35, like I said. Super excited. We've made it 10 episodes into the return. That's pretty awesome. Thank you guys for the support on last week's episode number 34, The Rise of Banana Man. Or actually, no, Rise of Banana Man, technically. There's no the. But thank you guys for the support on that. Again, you guys' support is awesome. Without you guys, we would not be doing this. We'd also just be two dudes hanging out, having a good time no matter what anyway, but we wouldn't be putting it on the internet for you guys to see. Yeah, Ozzy, how you doing this week? How are you?
Very valid. How am I doing?
Yeah, how are you doing?
How am I doing? You know, in the grand scheme of life,
yeah.
I can't complain. You know, there's still some polar caps. Mm-hmm. I mean, not a lot, but some are better than none.
Right, of course.
Yeah. That's about it this week.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, you know, and how are you, my good sir?
You know, this week I feel very much like a grain of sand, both in terms of, you know, the vastness of the world, but also in terms of like, you know, where I'm at, you know, getting like knocked around by waves and so forth, or like turn into a sandcastle to be turned out of a sandcastle to then be like dug out into a hole shape to then get thrown into the ocean. You know, kind of feels a little hectic almost.
Yeah.
I know it's one of those things where you almost feel like you don't have like control over it, you know?
Yeah. But you know, that's life.
Yeah, that's
life.
Yeah. Yes. If you guys enjoyed that little intro bit there, just know that you can go ahead and find That's the Flavor anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or you can go ahead and watch the video version on YouTube as well if you want to see our beautiful faces each and every Monday as well. Over on Spotify, you can go ahead and answer some polls and some open-ended questions. We can go ahead and read those and goof around with you guys each and every week, and we do the same thing over on YouTube as well. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok if you want to go ahead and see that kind of stuff. And yeah, just figured I'd mention that real quick here. But
yeah,
in typical That's the Flavor fashion,
social medias,
coastal medias. You know, have you? I'm assuming most people probably have. Have you seen like any of like the recent like orca news of like what orcas are up to in the ocean?
I really haven't.
Oh, really?
I've been kind of under a rock in terms of
that's okay. So
news and everything lately.
So orcas have been recently teaming up in the ocean and tipping over boats.
Oh wait, actually, yeah, I have seen stuff like that.
So it's been a few weeks of it at this point, but like as far as I know, it's still going on. But like honestly, they're getting smart enough to like team up, and like 4 orcas will just like tip a boat over.
Honestly, good for the orcas.
Right.
But are the people surviving the boat flipping?
I don't know. I haven't heard any of that. But I know there was a great meme about it whenever the submarine search was going on.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, yes, please send out more search boats. And it was like orcas, like, yes, please send out more search boats. But honestly, I wonder what it'd be like to be an orca. And kind of like just have this final power to like stand up. You know what I mean? Like for orcas. Like, you know what, guys, enough is enough. Like we didn't orcas being like, we didn't make Free Willy to be treated like this.
I really thought when you said, man, I can't wait to be like, I wish I was an orca so I knew what it was like to stand up. You were fully going like they just became bipedal and started walking on their tails. And I was like, Christian, I'm sure they wonder that too. But now I am starting to see that you're using stand up from more of a metaphor.
Literal, yeah. No, yeah, metaphorical, not literal. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, honestly, what? Again, the orcas did not make Free Willy.
Yeah, because the orcas made Free Willy.
That's what I think.
Who directed that? Who directed Free Willy? Let's find this out.
An orca directed Free Willy. Ozzy.
What about Free Willy 2, Adventure Home?
That one was a human creation. The original Free Willy, directed by orcas. Free Willy 2, 3, and I think all the other Free Willys, all human creations. All anti-orca propaganda.
Well, is Simon Windsor by any chance, if you're listening to this? I really hope you're an orca.
Dude, that could be a really big, like, time rip. Or, like, uprising if we find out that the director of Free Willy wasn't actually an orca. Like, that's a lot could go down. I'm kind of worried for that day.
I mean, I'm sure in an alternate dimension he probably is an orca. Do you just imagine that? I bet you in an like alternate dimension me and you are orcas, and then we decide, hey, enough is enough of these boats, and then we flip them. But I feel like also at the same time, us as orcas, we would flip it, but something else would happen.
My thing is, I think about it like this. So very much how you said the bipedal orcas.
Yeah.
In this other universe, like, they are just hanging on their boat, like, hanging out, having a good time, and then you just see two mermen swim up and, like, push the boat over.
And we're the size of orcas?
Yeah. Two orca-sized mermen.
Jeez.
Like, we're just that big, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a spectacle.
Yeah.
Move over, like, mermaid man.
And then we like, tip it over.
Yeah, do we use echolocation as mermen?
Or would we still talk in English and the orcas still use, like, screeches and echolocation? So as we're tipping over, like, yeah, let's do it, man, let's go. And the orcas are like, ee, 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 ee. Like, freaking out, but that's all it is just different e's, different high pitch.
See, I also just picture, so, like, the world is run by bipedal orcas and, like, or mer people who live in the sea.
Yeah.
But I still picture that Ellen DeGeneres is still on the Earth, so then she communicates in her Dory impression of the whale.
Does this mean that this world has, like, an orca president of the United States? Like, is it a full switch? So, like, is anything that would be a human and now an orca?
I don't know.
Like,
this is getting very Rick and Morty.
Yes, yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Hammer Morty and Hammer Rick, like,
yeah, Wasp Morty and Wasp Rick,
Hitler Frog Rick, Teddy Hitler, yeah.
I feel like the world of Rick and Morty is really dangerous, like, legitimately.
And you're saying like the universe that we live in is not dangerous?
I mean, I feel like the Rick and Morty universe is more dangerous than the world we live in. Yes.
How so?
Because, like, interdimensional and intergalactic travel is, like, possible in that universe. So, like,
I mean, it could be a possibility for us.
It's not. I don't think it's possible yet. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's why I said it's a possibility.
Well, sure. So yeah, down the road it could be like, oh man, we're stuck, we're screwed. But like if we're just talking like apples to apples right now, yes, that universe is scarier to me. Because like there's dragons, there's like, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff. There's alien like war races.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because they've unlocked international
travel.
Yes, they've unlocked international travel, intergalactic travel.
Just so, like some kind of alien be like, hey man, I'm trying to take a trip to Spain. How much is like a ticket? Like,
Imagine that.
Like
It
just
would
because
be
he said
like,
international,
oh,
like, oh hey, I'm trying to go to Europe. Like,
it's like, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Mars. Huh. Wow, tell me how it is. I hear the view's
wow,
amazing.
wow,
Wow.
wow.
Come on, Charlie. Candy Mountain. Candy Mountain, Charlie.
I
Wow.
I watched Charlie the Unicorn the other night because there was on TikTok like a supernatural like blooper, and it was them quoting Charlie the Unicorn as like the blooper.
Like
And I went down the rabbit hole.
Supernatural, the show?
Yeah, the show. Yeah,
Oh.
and
Mm.
like Jensen Ackles and oh no, why can't I think of his name? The
Yeah.
other one,
The other
Jared
supernatural guy.
Padalecki. But yeah, they were like shooting a scene, and it was like, oh, why would mom go ahead and do this? And it's like, oh, you know, she probably had a good reason. Yeah, she's out here working with the Leopleurodons. And it was like, oh, the magical Leopleurodon.
The Leopleurodons, Charlie. The Leopleurodons.
Yeah. Honestly, early YouTube was a wild time. Whenever I go back and watch those videos, like the fact that like they exist is very wild.
You know, that was a much simpler time. But also at the same time, I feel like the kids these days would not have handled old YouTube well.
I mean, my thing is they also already do though, just in this different formats. You know what I mean? Like, no, they don't have their own. They don't have llamas with hats, but arguably they have content that's just as bad.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Like, but I understand what you're saying as well. Like the like things like llamas with hats, Charlie the Unicorn, like that stuff was like kind of abrasive. Like,
oh, I mean,
sure,
llamas with hats went off the deep end. Like,
God, I love llamas with hats though.
Me too. Like the first one is like, I stabbed him
funny, pretty dark, like
20 times, and then the final one with the balloons and the faces, like,
yeah.
Man,
I wonder what those guys are up to. You think they just like made a crap ton of money and then got out of the YouTube game? Like animated 4 llamas with hats videos, called it a day. Like,
probably. Oh, am I crazy? I feel like I just did this the other like about a month ago too. But isn't Llamas with Hats and Charlie the Unicorn the same animation company, or no?
I don't know, but I can go to YouTube and find out.
Because I can't remember. I guess because they're similar in terms of tone, maybe, that I just instantly think.
Oh yeah, no, they are.
Okay,
they are the same.
Yeah.
Wait, there are 12 llama with hats.
Yeah.
And there's also only 4.
No, there's 12 llama with hats, and they also just recently came out with another Charlie the Unicorn.
Oh my god. And also, to be fair, there is that YouTube channel is still uploading content to this day. Like, they uploaded a new video 8 days ago, so good for them. But again, also, I feel like you get to that point where, because we kind of talked about this on episode 31 with Hugh Moran, but like, once you make like a pretty like solid video, like a pretty like viral video like that, you can just kind of live. Like, you don't have to make content unless you want to at that point. So like, they're just like kind of hanging out doing their thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's more that it's like, oh, I think this is funny, and so then they do it, and then, oh, cool.
Yeah. So there's actually, since we're on the topic of YouTube stuff, there's actually an interesting debate, because I know the other week we were talking about Mr. Beast as well. I'm like, oh, how does he do this? How does he do that? So Jacksepticeye did a like lie detector test with a couple other like content creators, and on that lie detector test, he was asked the question, do you think like, it was like, what YouTuber do you hate the most? And he said Mr. Beast, and that was the truth. It didn't set the lie detector. And then the next question was, do you think Mr. Beast ruined YouTube?
Oh.
And then he said yes, and it also was a truth. And then of course this video got released to the internet, right? And so it blew up overnight of like Mr. Beast himself had a response, like everybody was kind of like putting in their 2 cents. But what Jacksepticeye said in the video was that he thinks like Mr. Beast ruined YouTube because he is like he doesn't have more fun in his videos. He thinks that Mr. Beast has like businessified his YouTube career in the sense of like he's just doing the things he's doing to get the more views and like win the numbers game more than he is making the content for fun. And like it was like it's like, oh, it'd be fine if he had a little bit more fun in his videos, like, and so forth.
What was Mr. Beast's response?
I think he deleted it because I think at this point now, like him and Jacksepticeye have made up in like DMs. So I don't think the original. Oh, I'd have to look it up and see. But Twitter, or should I say X now at this point?
Yes, X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, which is that's a whole thing, man. Yeah. So the clip. Oh yeah, the clip was like, "Oh, do you like Mr. Beast?" Jacksepticeye said no. Okay, that's a truthful. Everybody that was there like gasped. Do you think Mr. Beast ruined YouTube? He said he waits a second, says yes, and then it's truthful as well. And then he says because it became more about the views, money, and popularity than it did about having fun. I'm like reading the subtitles on the clip, and it's like if he had fun doing those videos, they'd be longer videos. Like we'd see the fun that he was having. So like that's what Jacksepticeye's like responses were, right? Mr. Beast's original tweet, before like they made up before he deleted it, said, "So I ruined YouTube because I didn't buy a mansion and sports cars and instead reinvested my money into making content / focused on doing good and aspiring." Focused on doing good and inspiring kids to help people. If he had fun, the videos would be longer. What does that even mean, LOL? You think I'd give up every hour of my life for 14 years if I didn't have fun? This clip is insanely disrespectful, IMO, and obviously there is so much I could say about his content, but I'll take the punches and be the bigger man. Sigh. And then this started this whole thing of like people attacking other YouTubers for being like, oh, you're the ones that need to grow up. Like, to do this as a career, it's obviously a numbers game and a business. And the fact that, like, you guys aren't treating it like that, like, shows that you guys are just a bunch of, like, man children. Like, of, like, Peter Pan syndrome. Like, and, like, trying to, like, live out these childhood dreams as, like, a grown adult. And honestly, it's gross. Like, turn YouTube into a real job, basically. Which was so funny to me. Because for years, it's been the go get a real job. Whenever you tell somebody you're doing YouTube or content creation, streaming, podcasting, whatever, they're like, oh, go get a real job. And so now it's make YouTube a real job. And that just baffles me.
Oh, see, I mean, I guess to go back to the initial point, like I feel like that's why necessarily I don't know if our kid, like if this generation would handle ours, because like I mean in terms of content, yes, but in terms of like production quality, I guess I don't know if they would handle it, because I mean back in the day you gave us like ASDF video, you gave us Charlie the Unicorn, you gave us like all of these things that I mean, they're pretty funny, and they are very much a staple in the YouTube and also just in a lot of people's general like lives. But if we're going in terms of like production quality, and I mean, I'm sure they'll even talk about it, like they didn't have much of a budget. So like a lot of it's not going to be like pristine and look like, I mean, take old Smosh for example, like, and to see their growth, which is always so great to see, and see like how they go from like literally using like their phone to just like a cheap GoPro that they had to then actually getting like an actual camera person. It makes me just genuinely think, because they have this mentality that like YouTube is a job, and if there's anybody who is just like doing it for fun to post whatever they want to post, like that's what YouTube started out as.
Well, what I hate is you have these two camps now that are like, oh, if you're doing YouTube for fun, that's fine. But like, if you want to do it as a job, you have to be playing the numbers game. Like, you have to be making your content solely to get good, like solely to get good numbers, to get good views, subscriber gains, and so forth. Which, like,
that doesn't make sense
from
to
a
me.
normal job statistic standpoint. Sure, yes, you want to watch number go up, right? But if you're not actually enjoying the content you're making, then there's no point in doing it. You're just as miserable as you would be working a desk job. Like,
exactly.
In my mind, the reason I would want to do YouTube or anything is because, like, it is arguably, in this day and age, the dream job, right? Same thing with, like, streaming and podcasting, so forth. Like, getting to kind of just be creative and put it out there is arguably, like, a lot of people's dream. And so if I'm not enjoying that, if I'm not enjoying the dream, then I feel like something is wrong.
I mean,
And
yeah, I think
one
that's
could
so
argue,
true.
oh well, I get enjoyment from like watching the numbers go up and like playing the numbers. That's like sure, but that's also disingenuous.
Well, see, the thing also too is I feel with the numbers game, and also in terms of like likes and this forced way of evaluation, forced way of recognition,
Mm-hmm.
is something that's not gonna last. Like, I mean,
Right.
even if you look at a lot of people, especially people who have like viral videos,
Mm-hmm.
like they say it's dangerous because once they get that viral, like they get that high, but then they don't
Yep.
feel that unless
Yep.
they get that or top it. Which, I mean, having that kind of mentality, then that's not healthy at all,
No.
because you're forgetting the point of why you're doing it, and that is to
Right.
have fun. You're more focused on the issue, you're more focused on that, which that should not be any reason why somebody would put content out or make it.
Yeah, and what I think is really wild about the entire argument is if you look at, again, I don't like just clarify here. I don't what I'm about to say. I don't hate Mr. Beast or anything like that. Like I watch his content. Like I respect it. Like obviously he's one of the biggest, fastest growing YouTubers.
Yeah.
But there's but the whole Peter Pan syndrome discussion, as people want to call it, he's the biggest fault of that. In
Yeah.
the sense of like his videos are like $1 vacation to a $250,000 vacation.
Yeah.
Like living out these fantasies. Or the one he just did was like a $1 yacht to like a $1 billion yacht. And it was like going through all these like super crazy fantasy things. And it's like, sure, you're spending all this money and reinvesting into your content just to create bigger, like crazier videos that are fantasy dreams.
Yeah. And I
And it's
mean,
like
like,
I
yeah.
understand what Jacksepticeye is saying in that video, because like if you go and watch those videos, like yes, they're entertaining, but also at the same time, it's like, oh hey, here's this crazy yacht we're on right now, and here's like what it all includes, and here's like maybe 30 seconds to a minute of like what we're going, and then oh it's on to the next biggest thing, like
I
and on
mean,
to the next
yeah.
biggest thing.
Agreed. Like, I
It
mean,
almost
and
feels like you're. Oh god.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, piggybacking on that, and I think
Yeah.
also, like, I'm the same way. Like, no disrespect to Mr. Beast, like, I think what he's done's great. I mean, we've talked about it before, but kind of on the similar line of Jacksepticeye, like, I've watched and I've viewed some of his content. He very much does have like the mentality of like, oh, look at this, or if he's doing one of those crazy challenges for like, I made a real life Squid Game, like,
Yeah.
it's very much fast forward and like cut and paste.
Yep.
And you almost see in a lot of the ways that he's just like, wow, look at this, or oh my gosh, here's this person. And
Yep.
I'm not saying that he's not having fun, because I'm not Mr. Beast and I'm not in that situation making like having those interactions, and like that could be fun for him. But I mean, from a viewer standpoint, I mean, it does kind of look like he's just kind of doing it like, oh, this is my job, I need to make it, and like, yeah, I came up with this idea and this is fun and cool. But also at the same time, like, there's like no shenanigans, there's no like,
Yeah.
we're getting very much like this
Or,
is the
like,
final product.
Like I don't know. Sometimes there are shenanigans up, like in that yacht video. I'll use that one because I'm pretty sure that's one of his like more recent ones, if not his most recent. Is like the whole yacht video. But like one of the shenanigans was like he took one of his like friends or like castmates kind of scenario, and since he was late getting up to go to the new yacht, they had him like jet ski or boat around all day on a smaller boat trying to catch up to them. And then like going up to boats and being like, oh hey, like do you know where they went? Do you know where they went? And like that was the shenanigan. But like the guy was still on like a couple $1,000 boat, like going around. Like it was weird. Like, and it's almost just this like flash of money in a sense, which I feel like is disingenuous. Where it's, hey, here's all of this money. Like,
Yeah.
and again, it just becomes the biggest fantasy thing. I don't know. And again, maybe of course off camera they are enjoying the yachts or so forth. But like again, not seeing that makes it almost feel like, I don't know. It just makes it feel a bit disingenuous.
I mean, yeah, I agree. But also, this is something that's always I've been curious about. Like, what does he do with all of those things after said video? Like,
So
I mean,
part of
does
it is,
he keep it? Does he donate it? Like, I'm not sure.
here's the thing
I mean,
with the
I'm
yachts. I don't think he's actually buying them. I think he is just renting time to be on that yacht and showcase the $250,000 yacht. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know that he has like a studio and like a bunch of land, like where like his headquarters and stuff is set up, and I'm pretty sure they just probably store all these giant props and containers they build. Because like he's gone and like made the point that like every video he makes, I think, has like a stupid amount of like production value of like multiple hundred thousands.
Yeah.
Where like he's literally put out tweets where he's like, "Oh hey, this is like the video we just made, and here's like the cost of the video, and here's how the profits have done so far." Like,
It's just insane.
and it's just astronomical numbers. But I just found that interesting because I know we were talking about him a few episodes ago, and just kind of that update on it. Like, it feels like there's very much this old YouTube, new YouTube creator content clash going on right now. Of like, oh, your content's disingenuous. No, your content's disingenuous. Like, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, hey, your content's so low effort compared to like my high quality content. Because not even Mr. Beast, you have so many of these like, oh, let's do a channel, like let's do a challenge channels and stuff like that. And like someone made a great point that we're in this current era of YouTube of like Mr. Beastification. Because if you go and you look, like they've come down to the conclusion, like, because I follow some of the accounts of like statistics and stuff, that there is a certain way you should be making your video thumbnails because they draw the best attention. Like there are certain colors you should be using in your thumbnails. There's a certain way you should intro your videos, a specific length. Like if you go and look at all these channels, like Mr. Beast and all these other ones included, they are all the exact same. Like, and one could argue that same thing about like let's play video game content or something, like, oh, it's just the same guy playing the same game, and like, oh, and that content's like super low effort compared to like this challenge I'm doing. And I feel like that's like there's just a really weird argument going on right now.
Yeah, but then that also goes into like a whole other thing, which I don't think's fair, is because like then you're going into the whole idea of almost, I guess, economic difference, because like that's not fair to say that one person's video has more effort put into it, because they might have more money to be able to spend into it versus the other person, but it doesn't mean that they have any less passion or any less drive for it. Like, I mean, I think it always depends on the person. Like when I was younger, yeah, if I could have streamed video games, I probably would have, but I never really had the equipment to do it, and I didn't have the money to really do that.
I wanted to stream video games so bad and record content so bad that I took my mom's laptop that she was using for school at the time, and I would play Minecraft on it, and I would use Bandicam free trial to record myself playing Minecraft factions with the people I had met on that Minecraft server. And it got to the point where my videos, as I was like editing them and like recording them, the laptop would overheat so much that I started putting ice packs underneath the laptop to keep it from like overheating.
I do remember this laptop. That laptop literally exploded, right?
Well, not exploded, but like the entire like bottom of it's blown out a little bit. But the funnier thing about that is there's an old podcast out there that used to exist that I started doing with like Zach and Luke and stuff a while ago, and that's how I would record it, is on that old laptop. So like we'd be like middle of the recording and it would overheat, like and, like we'd like lose that recording, have to restart. So there's some fun stuff like making content. But I just thought that was funny to mention. Like, yeah, literally had like ice pack. Like that's how badly I wanted to like make content growing up. Like watching like the Let's Players and stuff. Like,
yeah, but I mean, like, see, like that's some things that people wouldn't know, and I mean, and then you're gonna have on the same end, there's gonna be people where you'd be like, "Wow, nice try, dude!" Like, because they're gonna see like you're using the free software versus like say, I'm sorry, I'm just like, this is just the first thing that I think of is like look at Rooster Teeth, who like has like an entire team to do that. Like, it's just kind of, it's a little sad, and I mean, I also don't want to like overgeneralize because I know that's not what everybody thinks, but I think it's one of those things that people don't even necessarily realize that they're doing, because it's one of those unspoken things. Because I mean, money and economic like placement and stuff like that is a very tough question for a lot of people. Yeah. But it's also at the same time, it's very much an issue of that people don't realize how much of an influence it is on their view whether they like to admit it or not.
Yeah. I think when it boils down to it, it's really hard to judge effort because everybody's situation is different.
Yeah, and I mean, I think effort's one of those things that it's not necessarily able to have a quote unquote perfect way to measure.
Right.
Because it's so relative. Like, for one person, they could spend their whole like life on it, and that's like 110% of their effort. Whereas one person will see that and be like, "That's just no effort. That's just you did a lot."
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
pivoting. We even had that on one of our recent YouTube shorts, like, which I'm not afraid to talk about. Like in the sense of we put out a YouTube short and. Like it was the one where we were talking about like the Red Robin seasoning like lick test from a couple episodes ago, and someone was like, "Oh man, this man like really said lick test," and I was like, "Yeah, you know, you do what you got to do," like haha, like making a joke out of it, and like he made this big paragraph spiel of being like, "Oh, like you know, you're out here doing this like super disingenuous like podcast content, like you should move on to like better content."
See, it was so funny. Oh, you go.
Well, I was gonna say, and he was like, "Oh, like you should move on like other content. Like no one's gonna watch this or really care about it. You're not growing." And I typically don't like in depth respond to like hate comments. So we gave him like a funny like, "haha," like thanks for the like the boost in analytics or whatever, because like that's what it is. That's what a hate comment is to me. But this one, I was like, but that's where you're not understanding that like this podcast, even this clip. Is something that like I care deeply about, that I put a ton of effort into, like that I have a team of people that like work on it with me. Like I have a co-host, we have an art direction person, we have an audio editor, and it's like that's what you don't see by even just doing like a little bit of digging, by just like putting out the hate.
Exactly. Well, because I mean, whenever you first brought up this concept, that was the first thing that came to my mind was that comment that we got on it, and I'm like, I guess I get it. I mean, and hear me out on this. Like, I get it in that this generation has grown up with this professional YouTube in quotations, or
no, that's fair.
Maybe not even professional YouTube.
No, but in the sense of like we grew up with like YouTube when it was literally like YouTube. Started like literally came into existence when we were like 8 years old, like, and I know I started watching YouTube content around that time. Oh no!
Alrighty, y'all. Taste buds. I do believe we might have just lost Christian at one of the most profound parts of the podcast. Genuinely curious to see what his thoughts were. Alrighty, yeah. So we have a little bit. Okay, there's official. Okay, we did just lose Christian. So this isn't everybody at Taste Buds, listeners, viewers. Apologies. I do believe that this is 2 weeks in a row that we've had technical issues. But you know, this is what makes it fun. You know, I gotta just gotta keep rolling with the punches, as we like to say. Hey,
don't worry,
I think we got him back.
There we are.
Hey. Me and the Taste Buds were just having a very heart-to-heart because we were like, wow, Christian was really just about to say something profound, and we won't know.
And you know what's funny? I don't even remember what we were talking about now because I was so worried. Oh no, what was it, man? It was gonna be something pretty profound and crazy. It was gonna be like the next YouTube prophet. Oh, I
mean, I know you were talking about you kind of going back to the point of this professional YouTube versus like when we were 8. It was 8 whenever it came out for us, and
but that's just it. It is fair. Yeah, it was 8. Like YouTube was like brand new. We grew up with YouTube, so like no, we didn't have professional YouTubers. We had Smosh, we had Charlie the Unicorn, we had people that were just uploading stuff for fun stuff, and then the monetization and then the money making came into effect after that. And then yes, these kids now grow up with professional YouTubers that 100% do this for a living. Like,
yeah, I mean, he was a good example. Like, he is able to do it for a living.
yeah,
like he even said in our episode, like he was able to quit his job to be able to make this his full-time job, which I mean is a dream come true.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Go ahead.
You go. I'm gonna mine's gonna go off on a little bit of a different tangent. So
I mean,
if you
that's
have
totally fine.
this,
Tangent me.
I mean, because now I'm curious too. Is like we have this Mr. Beastification in terms of YouTube, but how do people then view like professional TikTokers, for example? And back when we also grew up, like we also had Vines. Like Vine was really big for us, and there were people who were making money off of Vines. And it's really interesting because I know, like, at least for me, like there was a couple of people on Vine that I really liked. And whenever Vine shut down, they then had to transfer to YouTube. And a lot of them didn't wind up going to TikTok because it's a completely different thing. But this just brings me to the thought of like, so yeah, we live in a YouTube world and like everyone's trying to make like videos like Mr. Beast, right? So how do we view TikTok and Vine as Apple? Because are they just like a version of YouTube, of short form content, a different like YouTubeification, I guess, if that makes any sense? Oh no, we lost him again. Wow. And the arms of the angels fly away from here, in this cold, dark hotel room. Thank you, Sarah McLachlan. Yeah. I don't know if this is just like the universe saying, we're here, that's the flavor. I feel like this is a pretty like not a silly, goofy conversation as we usually have. But you know, I know Christian and I enjoy it. Like we've said multiple times, Christian and I really just like to kind of talk about whatever comes out. So seriously, taste buds, seriously, anybody who's listening or watching, please leave us comments or any suggestions. Do you like it whenever we do talk about more serious conversations and like our thoughts and feelings on things? Do you prefer us just to kind of be like, how many alligators would it take to rob a Chick-fil-A? Like those silly things. I know Christian and I, we are people. We like to talk about multiple things. So, you know, seriously, please give us some feedback if you like this. I know for me, I'm really enjoying it. And I believe Christian is too.
Yes. I apologize there, taste buds and Ozzy. My Wi-Fi adapter that like controls my Wi-Fi on my computer is just fritzing out, and it typically never does this when we record. So I literally had to like yank it out and plug it back in.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, me and the taste buds, we've just been having a lot of heart of hearts today. You know?
Good. So, I'm glad.
I hope it's been good. Yeah.
But yeah. I feel like I'm not sure wherever you landed. Take me away. Bring me.
I was just gonna say I don't know how much or little that you heard.
I heard very little.
Yeah.
I was literally like, hey, let's pivot, and you went.
And then I froze.
And you froze, and I was like, oh no, he froze, and I was like, oh no, it's happening again. Oh no.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Exactly like that too. That's exactly how it happened. 100%.
Yeah, I believe it. Except like I feel like your chair like actually really did come out under you, and like you kind of face planted a little bit, and then your books fell on top of you.
Yeah,
and then
this right here is actually a broken nose as well.
Yeah.
You know, I popped it back into place.
We just fixed it in post. Yeah, so Christian says, yeah, look at my broken nose, but actually you're just going to see a perfectly fine nose because, you know.
That, or I now will edit in a broken nose on my nose.
That'd be kind of funny. I mean.
Which is going to be a lot of work, though, so I don't know about that.
So now the real question is, do we think that Christian actually broke his nose or not? That's the poll this week.
There we go. Definitely a legitimate question that nobody should worry at all. Audio listeners, don't come check out the YouTube video. I definitely broke my nose. So vote yes on the poll. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Honestly, I say do whatever your heart desires. I mean, if you think he broke his nose, vote for he broke his nose. If you don't think he broke his nose, then I mean that's your prerogative, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. The last little bit of a YouTube thing I had that isn't related to anything we've been talking about, but That's the Flavor YouTube channel has now officially hit 100 subscribers.
Woot,
At the
woot.
time of recording this video, literally today, it hit it. Because yesterday it hit 100, went back down to 99. I got real sad. And then today it went back up to 100.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. Thank you guys for your support on that. I know we've been somehow this episode turned into a deep discussion about YouTube, which I'm never going to complain about. I feel like the deep discussion episodes can sometimes be some of our best. But yeah, just thank you guys for the support. I just figured I'd mention that really quick since we were talking about YouTube. We're going to keep going up from here. We got some really cool stuff in the pipeline that I'm really excited about.
Yes, and, we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ozzy, you could smell... Oh.
I mean, you got something. I was gonna tell you. I mean, we're already pretty in the ways away, so we don't have a whole lot of time. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I think the one question we were gonna use we have to save.
Oh, I definitely think because that is a full episode worth of content right there.
Yep.
So come back, everybody.
Yeah, come back for whatever you think we're talking about. Could be anything really. What do you think?
Actually, leave a comment. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think?
What do you think we were gonna talk about? Let us know.
Is there a serious question that you want to hear Christian and I discuss?
Please, if there's anything you want to hear us discuss, let us know. Please, we would love to talk about your goofy topics.
Yeah, because we're goofy, and we like it.
It's true. Yeah. But I was going to ask you, if you could smell like one color in your life, what color would you want to smell?
A color? If I could smell any color.
If you could smell any color, what color would you want to smell? Complete pivot from the serious YouTube discussion topic we were having, but
see, this is interesting because I feel like there's already colors that definitely have distinct smells to it. Obviously orange, and then you also have lavender, which then kind of goes into purple. But then if you also want to be technical, does blue technically already have a color? Because you could associate it with salt water in the ocean. And Mabel, I'm sorry. Somebody will let you out soon. I love you. Sorry, taste buds. Sorry you have to hear her.
No, don't apologize. Mabel's great.
Yeah, I know. I think that was Mabel. Mabel wants to smell the color chartreuse.
Chartreuse. That's literally what I was gonna say. I'm not kidding you. So Mabel and I are gonna share the same
I can
color.
Read Mabel's mind. That's the color that she wants.
It doesn't surprise me. I can also read Ralph's mind. So
yeah. Oh, I'm curious. What do you think chartreuse would smell like?
I don't know. It's really hard. My first initial reaction is crayon. It would just smell like wax. Because arguably right now, if you were to take the color chartreuse and smell it, it would smell like wax or like paint or wood if you're using colored pencil.
Then if you go into the idea of orange, if you smell like an orange crayon, it's still gonna smell like wax and stuff like that. But then this goes into our past conversation that we've had of what came first, the color of orange.
My thing is we don't really know what orange smells like. We know that oranges smell the way they smell, but the sunset doesn't smell the same way as an orange.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not the color. It's not the color that it contains that smell.
Well, see, but then this brings in a very interesting thing because I guess then every color, it by itself is going to have a different color. There is no association to it. Because for that reason, I'm gonna go off a deep end, and I think a lot of people will probably be surprised by this answer. But I kind of want to smell black. I'm genuinely curious, what it would smell like. Because there's so many, I guess, associations with black, space, and also blacking something out. So you erase it. Inevitably.
Well, I like the space concept because one, that is an uncharted area, and this entire smell concept would have to be an uncharted smell. So
you can't smell space because if you do, then your head's gonna pop off.
That's my question. What does space smell like?
I don't know. What does a star smell like?
Exactly.
Do astronauts get fumes? No, I guess they can't because if they
can't, they die.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Wow, crazy.
Astronauts are hotboxing space fumes in the ISS.
That's kind of funny. I feel like there'd probably be somebody who would be like proud to say that they were the
Hey, is
first
the
person to
airlock
get
shut?
high
Yeah,
on the
totally.
moon.
And it's like slightly cracked open, just like letting space in.
That'd be rough. I think that would, honestly, that has to be probably top 10 worst ways to die.
Yeah. My thing is, if you just open up the airlock a little, like, you're okay though, right?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Like,
I
almost
mean,
like cracking a window. You can't just crack the window?
no.
Oh.
Like, but also, like, I believe, like, that's all pressurized and stuff because the pressure is completely different in space. So if you mess with the air pressure, then yeah, you might be fine because you're like in your suit or whatnot. But that like place is gonna be fucking destroyed.
I forgot about the pressurization. I really was just thinking.
And then you're gonna have a Matt Damon Martian situation.
Yeah. Where all his potatoes go away.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I only got so many potatoes left.
Yeah.
Which I have an issue with, right?
Okay.
Like, oh, I only have so many potatoes left. Why could he not just replant those potatoes?
I know. I did think about that.
Like, why not just like rebuild a new environment and plant those potatoes?
I mean, yeah, I'm not a potato farmer or an expert on potatoes.
But I'm not, nor am I a NASA scientist stranded on Mars. But
yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also very science fiction, like based off of stuff. But The Martian's not based off of a real story, right?
No, because
I didn't think so.
On Mars.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I just had that. I had that little brain fart that, like, I guess I feel like every person in this day and age kind of forgets. It's like, is that based off a real story? I don't know.
The beginning of that movie is literally them, like, as like a space group hanging out on Mars before they gotta go. So, and like, we have yet to set a single person down on Mars. So
yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
The Martian based off a true story.
That's what. I don't know.
It's like there's one that author. It might not have been that author, but there's another book out there called like Fractal Noise, and it's another like space book. Oh no, it's Hail Mary, and it's written by the same guy who wrote the Martian. But it's about this guy just like stuck floating through space.
Oh, I've seen that. I wanted to read it.
Up, and he asked to like his friend or his buddy, and I'm not sure if like they were high or had a little to drink or so forth, but like legitimately asked him, he's like, "Is this based on a true story?" And the friend just kind of like looked at him like, "Are you stupid?" Like,
I mean, you did just have that moment with me,
right?
And instead of them at least doing it in the courtesy of their bookstore between two of them, this will be on YouTube, and everyone will be able to see for years to come. And then fast forward to if I ever have kids, then my kids might stumble upon this video and be like, "Dad, I saw you on a YouTube video. You said The Martian was based off of a real story?"
Although at that point it could be. Maybe
I know.
Yeah,
that is true.
Like, yeah, kids, I swear The Martian was based off a true story. This book written
in 20 something.
No, because it was Martian. No, not the Maritime Hotel. No.
The movie came out in 2015.
Yeah. The book
came out in 2011.
Okay, fair enough. Huh.
It's only 369 pages.
Interesting.
I really thought it was longer.
I mean, you would think for like I almost my initial thought for like any science fiction book is like, oh yeah, it's definitely longer because like time and space is such a wild concept. But then like most science fiction books are like, hey, here's the story set in space, but like we're not going to explain any of the science.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But that's
true.
My brain always thinks they're going to, but like they don't. They just tell a story like a normal person.
It is kind
of
normal
author. Like
you would think that science fiction novels would be longer, but I do genuinely feel like science fiction novels are on the shorter end of the scale. Whereas like high fantasy, those ones are so long. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, absolutely love, but Jesus.
I almost want
also Game of Thrones.
I almost want a science fiction book that's similar to the Folger Shakespeare plays. Like, has a breakdown of notes every other page kind of scenario. It's like, here's 2 pages of story. Here's the scientific breakdown of what happened. Here's 2 more pages of story.
I honestly would not be surprised if there isn't something like that.
That's true. That's true. And again, I also say this, not having read The Martian or anything, so like
Yeah,
they
I
could
haven't read
explain
The
the science
Martian.
pretty well in that book. I have no idea.
It's on my
That's
read
just like
list.
that's my initial gut punch reaction, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Fight Club. Which is
First
also
rule, Ozzy.
another one book. Another one based off of it.
I didn't know Fight Club was a book, honestly, until like the other day.
The other day?
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
I'm not much better. I mean, I didn't realize Fight Club wasn't just a movie. I found this out senior year of high school, and that was because Fight Club was on a reading list. And I was like, whoa.
What?
Fight Club was a book? So that was back in 2017, 2018.
Yeah. Did you know that Fight Club was filmed chronologically?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It's
and
one
they
of the
had it to
few
where
films.
like, yeah, Edward Norton like malnourished himself over the shoot, and like Brad Pitt like was constantly like working out and like pumping himself up, so that one of them withered away while the other, which is really cool. That's, I mean, arguably semi health issue, depending on if you like how you feel about that as an actor, like, or like the malnutrition and so forth. I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely healthier ways, I think, to go about that now.
Yes.
I mean, malnutrition's not something to take lightly.
Well, in the sense, I guess, just in like the sense of like hitting weight goals and stuff like that. Like, I feel like Christian Bale's a good example.
Oh,
Because like everything he does, like whether he needs to gain weight or like lose weight, like he does it. Like there's no effects, there's no like, I mean, fat suits or anything. Like,
as an actor, I think that's great. I mean, it's pretty impressive, but
it's impressive.
I don't know.
It's just,
it's hard.
I feel like that bounce back as well, though, or like the bouncing back and forth, I feel like is unhealthy.
Well, I mean, wasn't it? I know Matthew McConaughey had a really hard time after Dallas Buyers Club because he got really skinny for that one, and then had to bulk up. I want to believe for like Magic Mike or something, but I think Christian Bale's also another one because he just recently had to do it. Didn't he? Like, I thought there was one that he like really.
He had to like super bulk up because he played Dick Cheney in the one like biopic movie recently.
Oh,
like a few years ago, and he had to like bulk up for that. Like obviously, because Dick Cheney was a big dude, and he had to like immediately cut down for like whatever role was next.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always a fan of that. I think that's dedication. But going back to your like initial point, I found something very interesting on like shooting stuff chronologically because it's so very rare, because a lot of times it always depends on like budget and where they're shooting that day and so on and so forth. But a lot of people say like there are directors who swear by it because they want to have their actors have that full emotional growth, which as a performer, and I'm sure you too would like appreciate, like I think that's very thoughtful and great.
And I feel like that's that little essences of like live theater trickling into like recorded theater and like, or like record like films and stuff, I should say.
I mean, like, all art starts live.
Right. That's true.
All art starts live.
Give me Fight Club the musical. Where's that, Broadway?
Don't put that on. I mean, look, there's Back to the Future right now. We already have King Kong and we have Back to the Future.
See, Back to the Future is wild because it's I don't know if it's the first, but it's like the most recent play to like keep upping the tenor high note on Broadway.
It is, yeah.
Like he hits like a high C.
High D.
High D. Oh. Ooh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting topic. Like Broadway keeps like upping the tenor like high note, and even just the ranges in general.
Oh yeah,
everything keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher. Which as a low end bass hurts my soul, but it's okay.
As somebody who is a tenor and is proud to be at where he is now, just makes me slightly shriek knowing that. Who knows what's next?
One day you might have to hit a C or a D.
I mean, I can hit a C.
Good to know. Well, I'm gonna jot that down as future note. Ozzy could hit a high D if needed.
I don't know about the D. I have the I have the C very occasionally. C. I have a B, I believe. Yeah, I have a B flat consistently.
That's the Flavor live show in front of a live audience. We're gonna pull it out.
All right.
Yeah.
On that note, I do believe we got to wrap this one up. It's
Oh, is it
already
time to
been
bring
that
this
time.
episode? Oh wow, it's now time to bring this episode of That's the Flavor to a close.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ozzy, for letting us know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Taste buds, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of That's the Flavor. Again, really deep conversation, which is abnormal for That's the Flavor, but I always love when those moments happen. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the conversation and have some thoughts about it as well. If you do, leave them on the comments of the YouTube video, or leave them on a review on your podcast service. Leave them on the open-ended question on Spotify. Let us know. We want to hear your feedback so we can read it on the next episode, or like a couple episodes down the line, however it shakes out. But we love hearing from you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah, if you can go ahead and find That's the Flavor anywhere on social media, pretty much. If there's somewhere we are not, let us know so we can go ahead and make that account or put content up there. And yeah, until next week, everybody, I've been Christian.
And I have been Ozzy.
And Taste Buds, thank you all for listening to That's the Flavor. We'll catch you all next week. Take care and goodbye.